Can you share one moment or one story that are really that truly tested you as a leader that people don't know about?
Let me give you a big one. Last March, we got a call abruptly. Russia wants a game in Moscow during the FIFA window in March. It was about 3 or 4 weeks before the actual window. A lot of teams were in competition and they were looking for an opponent to play a friendly match in Moscow. And we got a call asking if we were interested. And immediately I said yes.
How much influence of these committees really have? And where do you see the biggest opportunity on a would say on a for global impact?
I've been saying to FIFA over the years that our Caribbean associations and more so our former legends, etc., we're not getting enough opportunities at FIFA. So you see legends from all over the globe, but you do not see Caribbean legends at FIFA. So how do we get our legends involved in coaching, in workshops?
Hey guys, and welcome on Football Business Television for the CEO shows. As you usually you see Mac, but I'm filling in for him. So give me some grace. It's been a last minute turnaround, but I'm happy and so honored to do this one. Out of all the CEO show that I could have done, that one in particular, I'm very happy about this one. So without further ado, I'm glad and so proud to welcome on the CEO show Mr. Marlon Glean. Marlon, how are you doing, my friend?
Hey, good to see you, Sebastian. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here. But more importantly, it's an honor to speak with you.
Nah, come on. For the okay, just for the record, for the people that don't know, Marlon and I we sharing the same cohort in the UEFA MIP Master Program. That's why we got a little bit of a connection. That's why I'm happy, but I'm the one that is honored. So how's life, Marlon?
Not bad. Very busy. Lots happening at this time. We have 7 national teams in training. We have our U20s playing in a friendly tournament in Trinidad right now. Our men's team played against Jamaica on Sunday. Unfortunately, we lost 1-0. A very balanced game. It could have gone anywhere, but we lost 1-0 to Jamaica. And then we're getting ready for the FIFA Series. It's been the first time in the history of Grenada football that our national team will be playing in Africa. And we're in the FIFA Series in Rwanda together with Estonia and Kenya. So it's Grenada, Rwanda, Estonia, and Kenya in the FIFA Series in the March window next month. So very exciting times for football in Grenada, but more so, it's been a very hectic, very busy period for me.
Yeah. So just for people to know, you are the president of Grenada Football Association, FIFA Technical Development Committee member as well. So you're quite busy, and but I would say your journey into football leadership didn't really start at the top of the global game. It started at the grassroots level, if I'm not mistaken, long before FIFA boardroom and international committees. When did you first realize that football could become a career path for you, even if it wasn't as a professional player?
For me, I've always, and every kid in Grenada would always dream of playing professional football, playing international football. And me and everybody else I knew, that's all we did. All day, every day, just played football. So I think my first opportunity came when I got the opportunity to train or trial with the U15 national team for Grenada, and that was the beginning of my career in football. I played for Grenada at under 15, under 17s, all the way up to senior national team. My pathway was kind of different because tons of college coaches from America would invade Grenada and the Caribbean looking for players to play in college. And for us in the Caribbean, it's the first opportunity. I never thought about a career pathway on the academic side. But it was an opportunity to play football, and me, as every other Caribbean player at the time, we were looking for any opportunity to play, and I got a scholarship to go to a small college in New York called St. Francis College. I played one season there, and then moved to University of South Carolina, where I played 3 seasons. Um, During my university time is when I got called for the senior national team, and I played in Caribbean Cup and World Cup qualifying, etc. But I was always a leader during those periods when I was on national teams, whether it was youth national team or senior national team. And I think quickly it was kind of evident that at some point I was going to go into the managerial side of the team. So I've coached, I've been a president of a club, I've been a vice president of the FA a lot of years ago before moving to FIFA, and then now to president of the Grenada Football Association.
So would you say that when was the moment, the key moment, decision making moment where you thought about out of grassroots football development? 'Cause, I would say low background. When did you really decide that you were going to go into leadership for good?
Um, I went through football, and at some point I thought, I had enough of it. I packed up and went back to New York and was working in contracts using my law degree, working as a contract administrator at General Electric, GE. And during that period is when I really reflected on my life and figured, you know what, I'm not sure I'm cut out for regular corporate America. I think football has always been my calling. I've always defaulted back to football. And after about a year in the job there, I saw a posting for the job at FIFA. And I decided to apply, not sure as to what I wanted to do at the time still. But once I started going through the interview process, I immediately figured, you know what, this is what I wanted to do. And I packed up from New York City, moved to Switzerland in Zurich at FIFA for a short period. And so during that period was when I actually knew that football is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Now we often hear the word leadership. For me, leadership has different connotation, definition. You've seen football from all the angles, from grassroots, for governance, from national federation. How would you describe your leadership philosophy and which experience have shaped it?
Um, I'm very inclusive. I think that's my style. I try to get as much people involved, especially experts. So even right here at the Grenada Football Association, I try to get experts from all over the world to come in and give bits and pieces of advice, ideas as to how we move the football forward. I always say to my guys here at the office, there is no one way of doing football. And when I meet the clubs over the last couple of weeks, I've been meeting all my clubs in Grenada, and I say to them, I am not the authority on football in Grenada. Notwithstanding the fact that I'm president of the federation, I am not the authority on football, and it's a shared collective discussion, ideas, and that is how we actually can move the game forward. So, in terms of my leadership style, I'll say that I'm very inclusive. I get the best individuals around and try to make collective decisions. If the tough decisions come, then I'll have to make it. But at the same time, I'm a very confident leader. I believe I know the football and I know it well from every angle. And at the same time, I love this sport and I love what I do. So that also helps in terms of making decisions. And and so far, I think it's been going very well.
Within leadership, there's values, and I'm really big on values. As a human being, you have your own values. What are the values that you really rely on, as the president of the federation? Are they different than your personal values? Just tell me a little bit more about it, please.
No, it's literally the same. My professional values are the same as my private. My personal value is the same as my professional values. I believe in the Almighty. I believe in God, and everything I do, I take guidance from that higher being. What I try to do is to be the best person I am, and try to be fair, and try to rule with some sort of conviction, and um, and I believe if we do what we believe is the right thing and we apply it fairly, I believe we get the results we're looking for. And for me, the main value for me is that of trust, belief, and the conviction from whatever that higher being that leads and guides me in terms of whatever decisions I make.
Since we've started the MIP, personally, my perception of football governance has changed because I was on the pitch and I was an expert of the art of football. Now there's the business of football, which for me it's amazing. So when we talk about the football governance, running a football governance body, there's reality and there's the perception that people they have a misconception of what it really is. So what
Right.
is the biggest misconception people have about the day-to-day role of a football association president?
The biggest misconception is that we get billions and billions from FIFA, and we're rich, and as a result, we should be self-sustainable, and as a result, we shouldn't be able to be getting gate receipts, and we should not be seeking sponsorship, and and that FIFA is going to take care of everything that we need. So we should be okay. And I have to explain all the time that FIFA give us a pot of money every year, and we have to use that pot of money for everything football, from salaries for the maintenance of the building, for utility bills, travel for national teams, um, purchasing of equipment and uniforms. The biggest challenge we have in Grenada and in the Caribbean, not just in Grenada, is that of the cost of airfare, and just regional airfare, not even international airfare. Um, just to go to St. Vincent or Trinidad, or national team or under 20 national team is in Trinidad right now, and easily we would have spent about 30,000 US dollars. Jamaica, initially we were supposed to go play in Jamaica, and the airfare was somewhere around 30 to 40,000 US dollars. And every time we play a match, the cost runs up easily $200,000. So yes, we get some money from FIFA, but it's never enough because there's so much things we want to do. And as a result, because of all the high cost of travel, the high cost of maintaining national teams, presently we have 7 national teams in training, and these 7 national teams been training throughout the year, and we have to pay staff throughout the year. We have to do refreshment throughout the year, transportation throughout the year. When you actually calculate it over a period of time, you realize that you're spending more than you're receiving. So we always struggling to balance between national teams preparation, running of the office, and trying to do development programs. And we've said to FIFA over and over, a lot of times our development programs are struggling, suffering, because we're unable to provide enough investment into development because all the funds are going into national teams and national team travels. I believe the biggest benefactors from our funds are the hotels and the airline companies that we use over and over during the year. For senior men's national team alone, we spend about $700,000-800,000 on just airline tickets for matches during the year, and that is where most of the funds are going. So, going back to your question in terms of misconception, the biggest misconception we get, and it's also government, private entities. Everybody will tell you the GFA is rich because FIFA is giving them millions of dollars, so they don't need any funds.
Yeah, that's a big misconception that people have. Can you walk us through a typical working day? What it looks like for you, like balancing Grenada, CONCACAF, FIFA, and international commitment. What does it look like?
And the legal practice. It's crazy. I start very early, so by 5 a.m. I'm on calls with Europe most of the time because of the time zones. I tried to get some exercise in between. You and I discussed that last time. We cannot do what we did before, so now I do a little bit of walking, a little bit of swimming, a little bit of running sometimes. But I spent if we have 24 hours in a day, I literally spend about 16 hours on the phone every day, with stakeholders, with the office, with coaches, with agents. I spent literally the entire day on the phone. Sometimes I get to office maybe around 10 a.m. And as a football office, I still also have a law office, and all day mixing in between, as you said, the football, my personal life. In Grenada, the association, the board of the association, including the president, it's a voluntary position. So I do not receive a salary from the Grenada Football Association. I am like the chairman of the board of directors, and I'm given a stipend to attend meetings once a month for the year. We have at least one meeting per month. But literally, I spent about 90% of my time doing football. Whether it is trying to get games for national teams, whether it is trying to get sponsors, whether it is trying to get some sort of program up and running, meeting with coaches, meeting with the office and the operations of the office. I literally spend the entire day at the office, and it's a voluntary position.
Wow. Yeah, I think people sometimes they don't realize how exhausting it can be. But as we said, it's a voluntary position, so that comes from your heart. What is the most, let's say, I heard about your biggest challenge, but what is the most rewarding part out of all this?
Let me tell you the most rewarding part of the football for me for this year. This year, we restarted the primary school football, elementary school. So that was for kids that were 9 and 10 and 11. And we had 56 schools, 56 elementary schools participated. In a small country, Grenada is about 100,000 people. And Grenada is 120, 133 square miles. And we had 56 schools participated. And at the final, you would swear think you were actually watching the final of the World Cup or AFCON. There was hundreds of people. There were parents and fans, and we brought it live on television. And just the to see the kids celebrate at the end of the final, for me, that was our biggest achievement for this year. Um, when you see the reflection on the kids and their faces, and how jubilant they were, literally acting like they just won the FIFA World Cup. I think for me that was the biggest achievement we had this year. Notwithstanding that, just being able to help kids realize their dreams. We have 14 girls on scholarships in the U.S. Um, all of them we help or we provide support to financially so that they can complete degrees, etc., at universities around the U.S. These are homegrown, born in Grenada, young ladies who are now in the U.S. And we have a number of boys also at colleges in the US. So just the opportunity to help a young person to realize a dream, to help them and guide them through some career pathway. To just not last night, but the night before, I met with the parents and the players of the U17 girls team, And I was saying to them that use the football to get the life that you've been dreaming of since you were a kid. You may not become a professional footballer, but still use the football to develop all the necessary skills and the necessary characteristics. Your leadership skills, your management skills, your organization skills. And I was speaking with the parents, and I said to them, do not just use this football as a sport for your young girl to play, but this might be an opportunity for them to save you $100,000 in terms of a college degree. So for me, my biggest reward, biggest achievement is just helping these young people to realize their dreams. Because for me, football got me to where I am. If I had to be the traditional student that went to school, etc., I would have never gotten a law degree. I would have never gotten my first degree is in finance. I would have never gotten a finance degree. I was able to play football, and because I played football, I got university paid for. And if I was to rely on my parents or my family to help pay for a university degree, that may never have happened. So now I try to make sure that more and more young people like me that look like me get an opportunity to be as successful as possible.
Was it the part of your priorities when you stepped in as a president? What were your, because at the end of the day, football is a result driven business, but real development takes time. We can't develop. Rome hasn't been built in a day. So, what was it part of your top priorities when you stepped in, or where were they?
My biggest priority was to restart the grassroots and new development. And I know it was going to take some time, as you just said. But I believe if we have to develop the football in Grenada, we must start from the start. There's no way to cut corners and get results. So what I saw in the region prior to me coming in is everybody's going to the diaspora and trying to get players. And no matter where the players play, they just pick players up and bring them here to play for national teams. And we have a Premier League with about over 200 young boys playing in the Premier League. And at some point, there was no hope for any one of them. And I'm thinking, if we're going to have competition for our young boys and young girls, why are they not getting the opportunity to play on a national team or realize their dreams? So for me, the focus was on grassroots and new development because I believe we should be able to produce really quality players, and then we can export them, and then they can come back and play for national teams. I've always been an advocate for getting the best players in the diaspora to represent the country. But at the same time, I cannot sit and support we bringing in 20, 25 players and there's no local player getting involved in the national team. Otherwise, you're going to destroy the football on the ground. So we must have a balance between getting the diaspora players, but getting our local players. And a lot of times, they may say they're not good enough. So how do we get them good enough? And the only way we can get them good enough is if we start early at 5 and 6 and 7. So what we did is we launched a national grassroots program. The idea was to go after 5,000 boys and girls every Saturday. We made it to about 2,200 or so. We just restarted the grassroots program last Saturday, and the intention is to go back after 4 to 5,000 kids. After the grassroots program, we got a program from FIFA called the Talent Development Scheme, the TDS program. Initially, we were going to go from 12 to 16, but then we changed it and now we've lowered the talent development scheme. So now the talent development scheme is from 9 to 13. So that the 9 to 13 year olds, we selected the best 9 to 13 year olds in the entire country, and they're going to train at least 4 times a week, every week for the year for 2 years. And the hope is that we can get out of that 30 or 40, probably five, probably six players that would either A, go on to play professional football, or at least 5 or 6 of them going on to play on the national team. So my focus is always on youth development and grassroots, but also on the other side, on the business side, how do we change the image? Because the image of Grenada football for years was very tainted. And when you spoke with sponsors over the years, they would have said to you that they don't want to put any money or they don't want to be associated with Grenada football. So we had to change the image over the last couple of years so that now we're getting sponsors are coming in. We just signed a contract with the water company, a 2-year contract where they're going to supply all national teams with water. We just signed a contract with one of the paint companies that are going to provide paint for our administrative building. We are about to start. We just started the development of our technical center. They're going to help with the painting of the technical center, and they're going to provide paint for us to mark our pitches, etc. When we have matches, domestic matches, or even international matches. So grassroots and new development from the technical side, but at the same time, we had to push the business side and how do we rebrand the GFA and start actually starting to get sponsorship because over the last 6 7 years or so, no sponsor wanted to do business with the Grenada Football Association. So now we've turned the corner and companies are actually coming in and sitting with us and having discussions about how do they partner with us to do business.
which is great. As a member of a FIFA Technical Development Committee, realistically, really, how much influence of these committees really have? And where do you see the biggest, opportunity on a, would say, on a for a global impact?
So I'm on FIFA's technical development committee, but at the same time, I'm on CONCACAF's development committee. So I'm doing the same committees in both FIFA and CONCACAF. And I believe I was selected because, I've done the football from both ends, from the technical side, but also from the administrative side. And I know FIFA very well, and I know the players within FIFA very well. In terms of influence, I believe a lot of the times we see these committees as just rubber stamps, just to be there, just to say there is a committee. But for me, I'm always the person that would stand up and stand out and ask the questions and try to drive um, um, issues, points that affects my region in particular. So, for example, I've been saying to FIFA over the years that our Caribbean associations and more so our former legends, etc., we're not getting enough opportunities at FIFA. So you see legends from all over the globe, but you do not see Caribbean legends at FIFA. So how do we get our legends involved in coaching, in workshops, in so these are some of the things I'm going to be pushing for, not just for Grenada, but for the Caribbean and the countries that are behind, the developing countries, those in Africa, those in Asia, those in Oceania. We need to find more opportunities because when we get our legends and our former players involved in FIFA and CONCACAF and in world football, then they come back with that experience and then they can share with the younger coaches in our various member associations throughout the Caribbean. We have 31 member associations in the Caribbean. And the Caribbean over the years has been lagging way behind when it comes to competitive football. And we need to close the gap. But the only way we can close the gap is that we have to have more opportunities for our coaches, more opportunities for our players, and more support so that we can do the grassroots and the youth development and the competitions, etc. FIFA has been doing an excellent job from the technical side in terms of the programs they've been doing with us, the TDS program, the arena program. They've been in lots of programs from the technical side to support us. But the question is, how do we get more support? Because we were behind. And I believe, and I've been advocating for additional support because, you cannot say, well, everybody gets support. But if the Caribbean and Africa and Oceania is way behind when it comes to development, why are we not providing additional support so that we can catch up with the rest of the world? And the my position on the technical development committee, I would not take it lightly. I would not take it as an opportunity for me to say I've arrived or I've gotten there. I'll take it as an opportunity for me to be in that space and try to drive development, for me to drive programs in the Caribbean, in Africa, and in those countries around the world that are further behind than those developed countries.
Yes, yes, I'm with you on that. You know that behind every leadership role, surely there are moments that people that they don't know about. They're not released in the press conferences and stuff. Can you share one moment or one story that are really that truly tested you as a leader that people don't know about?
Um, Let me give you a big one. Last March, we got a call abruptly. Russia wants a game in Moscow during the FIFA window in March. It was about 3 or 4 weeks before the actual window. Russia was looking for an opponent. A lot of teams were in competition. South America was in World Cup qualifying. CONCACAF was in World Cup qualifying. Europe was in World Cup qualifying. And they were looking for an opponent to play a friendly match in Moscow. And we got a call asking if we were interested. And immediately I said yes. And I said yes because I looked at it from the football side. Here is Russia ranked 34 in the world. At the time, Grenada is ranked 174. And we're getting a chance to play a friendly against a team ranked 34 in the world, but also a team that just hosted the World Cup in 2018 and a team that got to the quarterfinal of the World Cup. So I looked at it purely on the football side and I said, you know what? This is an opportunity for us. This is an opportunity for us to make a statement that we can compete with the big teams of the world. And I got a lot of criticism home. There was a lot of, the opposition was on social media talking about the politics of Russia and about the war in Ukraine, etc. And as I said to them, at the end of the day, we're a football organization and we're here to play football, to play competitive football. And I was adamant that we go to Russia and play the match. There was a lot of questions about the safety of the players. I'm taking the players to a war zone to play a match, etc. And I had to battle with this personally, but I knew it was the right thing to do. And we went to Russia and we had the greatest experience. We went with a full local teams. Our boys were playing in cold weather for the first time. Our boys were playing in snow for the first time. We got red carpet treatment. Our boys felt like they actually were playing in a FIFA World Cup. And they came back and had lots of stories. We packed, there was a packed 40,000 stadium in Moscow where we got a standing ovation after the match. We lost 5-0, but it was a very competitive game. Three soft goals in the first half. And right after the second half started, we got another two. But for about 60 minutes of that 30 minutes, of that 90 minutes, sorry, we actually played Russia like we were playing any team in the Caribbean. And I think that was one of the most difficult periods of my time in leadership here because I had to make a decision on something that I believed in. I had to make a decision based strictly on football. Obviously, I had to do my research into the safety of the players, etc. We were communicating with FIFA, communicating with CONCACAF, communicating with our government to see what their position was on Russia at the time. And we had the greatest experience. Since Russia, now the world is asking us for matches. We've been talking to teams in Europe and in Asia and in Africa about playing matches. And I believe that Russia match actually put us in the spotlight. Since then, since the Russia match, we've moved 10 places up FIFA ranking. Since the Russia match, we won 6 straight matches until we lost to Jamaica this Sunday. So in 7 matches since we went to Russia in March. Since then, we played 7 matches. We actually won 6 and lost 1 to Jamaica on the weekend, 1-0. So it was a tough decision, but I'm always guided by ensuring that I make my decision based on conviction. I base my decision based on knowledge, and I was confident that we were doing the right thing.
Honestly, well done, because that's true leadership, and that's what a leader are made of. Make decisions, and it's not easy. Just to close us off, Marlon, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered? That's my simple question.
Um, that's a tough one. I'm not sure how I want to be remembered, but I think what I would like people to remember is the impact that the organization, the Grenada Football Association, had on Grenada, not just on football, but on Grenada. Because as I said to all my youth players every time, this football is an avenue, it's a tool. We're in a very underdeveloped, we're in a very resource stressed country. And any opportunity for us to better ourselves, we have to grab it. And most of the players on our national teams come from areas that are underprivileged, and the future doesn't look bright outside of the football. So I say to them all the time, use the football to get to where you dream of being. Use the football to help your families. Use the football to help your communities, your villages. And if you invest in yourself now, God knows as to where you can go with it and what it can do for you. I've been fortunate to benefit from this football, and I'm hoping that every boy and girl gets the opportunity to use football to create, whether it's a career, and you don't have to be in football, to become good citizens of this country. Because if we have a national team or national teams that are winning, that are doing well, we have an organization that's well run, we have lots of good competitions, then you're going to see a reduction in crime. You're going to see a reduction in individuals just sitting idly by the streets. And what you're going to see is a very progressive and a very rewarding society here in Grenada. So the legacy I would like to leave is that I actually came and I helped, and I was able to at least touch one or two or three or 10 or 50 young boys and girls so that they can in turn come back to help the next generation.
And this is very noble from your side. Thank you, Marlon. I know, unfortunately, it's been fascinating, but that's the end of it. I gotta wrap it up. So thank you very much for your words. It's been really fascinating, honestly. Your word, your openness, your insight, because those are the things that are behind the scenes that people don't really know about. They might have heard about it, but they don't really know about it. So thank you very much. That was Marlon Glean on the CEO show on Football Business Television, where the game gets down to business, guys. Until next time, take care of yourself, and we see you soon. Bye bye.